Welcome to the Engineering, Emotions, and Energy Podcast, where you can relax, recharge, and reconnect. And now, your host, Justin Wink.
Today, I'm talking about tuning out.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get high. Oh, yeah, don't forget to bring a towel.
No, that's not at all what I'm talking about. Well, not entirely. I am talking about checking out, but for a specific purpose. And I know you're thinking like, oh man, I thought we were just going to be like chilling out, having a good time. We do chill out and have a good time more often in the way we want to. And how do we do that? By avoiding the stuff that we don't enjoy, the stuff that is not fun, the stuff that just makes us either angry or sad. Sad stuff happens, but it's, do we keep repeating the same things that make us sad or keep repeating the things that make us upset? If we're coming across new situations and these feelings come up, that's one thing. But if it's a pattern and we don't enjoy the pattern, let's break the fucking pattern. So tune out for the purpose of tuning in to what you want. I had this come to me recently on a recent trip to a grocery store. And you think like, grocery stores should be no big deal. That's what I would think, except I stopped at this grocery store that I usually do my best to avoid because I often find I don't enjoy the experience there. There's no need to say the name of the grocery store, especially if you're, not in Northern California. You probably wouldn't know, like I don't know Piggly Wiggly or Kroger or any of that stuff. We just don't have those in the Northern California area where I live. But so we'll just refer to it as an Unsafeway store that I stopped off because it was so easy. It's literally right on my way home. It's like all I have to do is dip into the parking lot, park my car, go into the store, come out. So I'm like, it's convenience. It's just, and how bad can it be? How bad can this experience be? I was reminded how much I don't enjoy going into an unsafe way. It's just kind of one of those things where the usual stuff that I'm expecting is that it's going to be a little bit overpriced. Okay. A little surprising was the lack of product that they had. Like one of the things that I was needing was some facial tissue. I refer to it as Kleenex, even though that's technically a brand name and you should say facial tissue. But Kleenex, I think, has become generic and you can just say Kleenex nowadays. And people know you mean facial tissue, which is cool. Over in the UK, which interestingly enough, I do have a trip planned to go to the UK in June for a meditation retreat. I am super looking forward to that. I've never been to London, let alone the outskirts of London. I hear it's like a fairy book land. The random hotel I found even looks like a castle, and it's like not even expensive. It's just some random hotel where I'm going. I'm like, it looks like a castle, which kind of reminds me of going to Germany where basically they have castles like we have McDonald's. In fact, I think I even saw a McDonald's built into a castle when I lived in Germany many years ago. Going back to the Unsafeway and my look for Kleenex, they basically only have like one type. And I'll admit, I sometimes use Kleenex a good amount. So I like to get the one that's got the lotion in it with the aloe so that it soothes my sensitive little schnoz, my sniffer, my scent sucker upper. It's just something I've learned over time prevents me from having a raw, bloodied outside of a nose, which does not feel good, probably doesn't look good. So I go for the stuff that's got a little bit of lotion, a little bit of soothing care. Because, I'd recently gone through, I did get COVID a few weeks ago. It was 2 days, not fun, but after that I started to feel relatively well. So a lot of tissue for that. Then also, I tend to cry when I feel. So men, women, others out there, it's okay to cry. Find a way to cry if that's what the body and your emotional system wants to do. So anyway, I have these opportunities where I cry often, and crying does, the tear ducts is sort of related to the sinus system and will get the mucus going and flowing, and need to blow my nose often, which is why I like the lotion. This Unsafeway did not have that type at all. That, it wasn't like they didn't have my favorite brand. They didn't have anything at all. The closest thing was the ones with the Vicks in it. But to me, that's just, if I'm sick, if I'm congested, maybe I'd want that, but I don't want that all the time. It's just one of those scents that I don't need it all the time. No, thank you. So they were short on the Kleenex front. Then also, I don't drink soda anymore. Very rarely. Very, very rarely. I used to be addicted to soda as a kid. Like me and my family, we would drink mostly Dr. Pepper. Like Dr. Pepper's, probably, 3 a day minimum. So when there was like a big deal at the grocery store, like, 5 cases for $20 type of a thing, we were all up on that. And in fact, when I would go travel, they knew that Dr. Pepper was my soda of choice. But I kind of got myself out of that habit about 10 years ago, because really there's just a lot of stuff that's not too healthy in there. And just why? So I don't. But I do enjoy sparkling water with a little essence of flavor, like your LaCroix. And there's lots and lots of brands that are delightful, have great flavors. I do try to avoid the ones that do come from like Pepsi or Coca-Cola. I just don't need to be drinking Pepsi Tap or Coke Tap with whatever they've added in. No thank you. So those brands, I believe, are Bubbly and Aha. So if you're trying to keep track of who owns what, I don't remember which one owns which one, but I believe each of those is owned by one of the big ones. It's possibly one of my favorites, has gotten purchased. Don't know. So they really do not have a selection of sparkly water. They do have one of my favorite, they have one case left of my favorite flavor, so that's a bonus. So that was good, because sometimes not all stores even carry this brand and this flavor. So got my Waterloo Black Cherry, which is delicious. If you can find it, I do recommend it. It's yummy. And if you want to send me some, do message me. Do listen at the end of the show for how to get in touch with me. If you want to send me some Waterloo Black Cherry, it's delicious. Then comes time to get some meats. I'm looking for sausage, because it's one of those, for me, easy things to cook quickly. And I'm looking and I'm like, I can't even tell what animal most of these sausages are coming from. Like, is it chicken? Is it pork? Is it beef? This to me seems like one of the number one things that should be easily identifiable is, where did it come from? Although, unfortunately, when it's anything but meat, it's usually the last thing you can tell. You usually got to get your reading glasses out and get those ingredients and pull up a chair, because it's going to be like reading War and Peace, going through the ingredient lists on most food items that you purchase today that is not actually a meat item, or if it's just in like pure produce. An apple's an apple, banana's a banana, kale's kale, which is great. So I'm a bigger and bigger fan of the less processed, the better. Like I do try to find, 5 ingredients or less in what I eat. That's usually a good sign. That was another frustration. Then the final thing that just really, really got me, because I'm like, all right, I just want to get out of here. I just want to be done. And did I mention that this was a Friday at about 10:30 in the morning? Not exactly prime grocery shopping time. It's kind of relaxed, chill, not a lot going on. So silly me, I go up to one of the checkout registers that doesn't look like any line, and I start to put some items down, and the checkout clerk, she goes like, "Oh, there's one line, it's back behind you." And I'm like, what? And I look, and there's 2 people not looking very happy, waiting in this one line for the 2 checkers. And there's an automated kiosk that says, wait here for the next available register. And then when the one's available, the nice thing I will admit is that it will say like, check stand 4 is ready. Check stand 3 is ready. This is the only sign, though. There's no indication at the registers or anywhere else in the store that this is the way it is. And the interesting thing I've noticed in the city where I'm living is this is not the only grocery store that kind of has this system. So I think maybe it's a local thing where they just like to do one line for all the checkouts. I find it completely inefficient, though, because there's a reason why they have that belt where you can be loading stuff on while somebody's finishing up their checking. There's some downtime, and it really helps keep the system efficient. And as an engineer, I like things to go smoothly and efficiently. And why wait longer than needed, especially if I'm done shopping and it's not like I'm socializing with anybody, because we're supposed to all socially distance still, I think. which is also really confusing sometimes going to a grocery store. It's just, so do we wear the mask, not wear the mask? We're social distancing, but then other times we're getting really close because we're trying to, all see what cheese is available. So I'm waiting in this line for my turn, and I'm just like fuming. I'm starting to get really creative about, when they ask me, how are you doing? Oh, I'm going to be doing much better when I'm out of this store. This is just not a great place. Like, you guys hardly have anything. It really felt like going to a convenience store with the pricing and the selection, but it's just spread out. So it's like a convenience store without any of the convenience. That's really kind of what this Unsafeway felt like. Did you find everything okay? No, I did not find anything okay. I found most things highly unsatisfactory. So I was so ready because I was just fuming. I'm like, oh, this is just, why did I come here? I should have known. This is just always a bad experience. And then, my number's called. I get to go to my checker, and I'm just like, all right, come on, let's go. And she didn't even ask me any questions. I'm like, they're not even friendly here. They don't even ask questions. They don't. And then I realize what I'm doing. And I tune out of what's going on with me. And I tune in to what's going on with the cashier. She looks all flustered. She looks frustrated. She looks tired. And I decided to go, well, what about her? So I ask her, how are you doing? Kind of like that. Like, not just like that. Hey, how you doing? And you just go, fine, thanks. How are you? Like, no. That, like, how are you doing? With eye contact. And she goes, oh, so busy, just really busy. There's so much mess to clean up. And and she finishes up and I go, well, I hope the messes get really easy to clean up, and I hope you have a good day. And I could tell, even though she still has the messes to clean up, she's still busy. She's still tired. I could tell that there was a little bit of relief that someone took the time to check in what's really going on, that she didn't have to pretend. She didn't have to put on a show. She could just be how she was in that moment. So I tuned in to the other person, and I tuned in to creating what I would have wanted for myself, because I would want someone to check in, care about me. So instead of like focusing on what I'm not getting, I focus on what can I offer. So I tuned out of the shitty experience I was having and all of my brilliant ways to burn, somebody that's probably having an even shittier day than I am. So I tuned out of all of that. That gave me the opportunity to tune in to what I want. And that's to not be so miserable, and to maybe brighten somebody's day, or at least not add to the misery. So by tuning out in the right way, you can tune in to what's really important. And you might go, how do I do this? And there's some ways to practice this. And I do these every Tuesday, the Tuesday 20, where I guide you through some stuff, and we do some practices where effectively the big part of it is not taking any one experience that you're having too fucking seriously. Not taking your thoughts too seriously. Not taking your feelings too seriously. Not that they're not important and valuable information. They're just not the end all be all of your existence. There's more to your life than your thoughts. There's more to your life than your feelings. There's more to your life than what's going on with your body. Yes, they all do need to be taken care of. But just by the way I say that they need to be taken care of, that implies that there's someone or something that can do that caretaking. That there's more of you, there's a bigger part of you, a higher aspect of yourself that's capable of putting those in a nice little safe place and looking at them and going, yeah, that's important right now. All right, let me find a skillful way to take care of that. Or, you know what, not right now. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll take care of that later. We have these other things that really need our attention right now. Appreciate it. So good of you to, pipe up, provide your information, provide your feedback with, that thought or that feeling. But maybe just now is not the good time. We'll get to that later. And so that's where, doing practices or doing breath work really gives us a chance to do this, so that when we're out in the world and something shitty happens, like being in an unsafe way, you don't have to be stuck in it the entire rest of the day. because I definitely know that years ago, if that similar situation would have happened, I would have let that wreck my whole day. Everyone I would have come in contact would have heard that story that I just told you. I would have told that story 14 times. Instead, I think I may have told one other person, like, yeah, I had an annoying time. But only those of you in my podcast listening audience, you get this long, drawn-out version so that you can learn to not have to have a long, drawn-out internal process when you have something similar come up. You just notice it and go, fuck, man, how can I tune out of this and then tune into what I want? Because our experience really can be thought of like a giant radio station where whatever's happening, it's because that's what we tune the dial into. And you're like, sometimes it's like, can't somebody change the station? Why do I got to hear this? Why does this have to happen to me? How come things can't go to my way? It's because you're tuned into the shit doesn't go my way station. Tune out of that. Tune into the I find ways to make things happen the way I want them to happen station. It's there. It's just a little up the dial. It's just a little bit further up. You can change it anytime. Not saying it's easy. First, you got to know that it's possible. And then you got to try it out. Because, what happens is you're on a station a little bit too long. It kind of gets to be a little groove sometimes, kind of like, oh boy. See, I didn't actually grow up with record players. My parents had record players, so I still got to experience a record player. But like sometimes, something can happen and you just play the same track over and over and over, and it gets kind of entrenched. And then once that's entrenched, it gets easy for that needle to fall back into and have that happen again. So it does take some effort to move the needle. I know I'm mixing my sound metaphors. Are we talking about a fucking radio? Are we talking about a record player? Really doesn't matter. What matters is, one, you got to know that you can play a different tune. Second, it's not necessarily going to be super easy and a one and done. 3, it can be done, and it does get easier the more you spend time at these other stations playing these different tunes. And that's what this show is all about. And that's what the stuff I do is all about, is helping it be easier for you to relax, recharge, and reconnect with yourself. And I'm guessing that who you are is not someone who wants to have a life of stress, a life of feeling frustrated, a life of not knowing exactly what to do, a life of feeling stuck. I'm guessing that who you truly are is somebody that wants to live a life of passion, a life of service, a life of fun, a life of joy. And that's what we're all about here. So thank you so much. So do remember, when things aren't going your way, just tune out so then you can tune in to what you really want. Thank you and good day. If you want to contact the show, email me at podcast@justinwink.com. That's Justin, W-E-N-C-K. And find me on social media, Justin Wink, Ph.D. on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you want ways so that you can relax, recharge, and reconnect, find the Tuesday 20 every Tuesday at 12:05 p.m. Pacific. It's only 20 minutes, and it's going to get you relaxed, recharged, and reconnected. It's on YouTube, and it's on Facebook. So looking forward to seeing you there.